Welcome back to another episode of First Use, where we dive into stoppages from weekend's games. In this episode, we're going to go through Adelaide and how they're able to successfully beat the Gold Coast SUNS plus 11 in stoppages, and they were going really well too. So we're going to go through some of their stoppages and how they're able to execute, particularly Rankine. It's not all about Rankine, I guarantee you, but with 10 clearances, he shows up a few times. So let's get into it now. So this is one of the first centre bounces of the game. I want to highlight Rankine. I spoke about this the other day about movement, and the ruck's coming in this way. You've got to shift side to side, and he does this really well. So as the play unfolds, see both rucks going for it. Now they're facing this way, so they basically, when you look at it, this is pretty much a dead area. He's in a great spot here, but just watch his ability to shift sideways laterally, so not get sucked into the contest. Let the play unfold, and then watch his movement and his ability to actually read it off the hand. So you can see, look how he just stops. So he's done his work, he's got his separation, and now he's just propped. He's waiting. He does this quite a few times through these videos that I'll go through. Just props, waits for the action, waits for it to unfold, and then reads it off the hands, and away he goes. And he's so good and so quick, so clean with his hands, and away they go. This is really good from Draper. First full game, not as a sub. And I highlighted this in a previous video. When both rucks, coming off such a long run up, but when one ruck gets stuck behind, and you can sense that they're not going to get there, and they're trying their hardest, what generally happens is the ball goes directly straight. So the player in front, the ruck that is, feels like they could throw it around, but the momentum of the ruck coming from behind generally hits it really forward. So when this plays out, and Draper's just in this section here. So as it plays out, you'll see that Reed, he's been bodied, he's been checked, and O'Brien's cut his angle right there. That's a really good tactic from rucks. So if I go back slightly, you'll see that Reed's starting from behind, but watch this movement from O'Brien. Just cuts his angle. So it just stops his momentum. And this is what leads to, now he's chasing. So O'Brien's seen it early. He's seen where the ball's going to land. And now Reed he's trying to get there as best as he can. So in this situation, what tends to happen, and this is exactly what happens, his only method is to try and hit it forward. Good number. Look at number 34. He is front and centre. Props himself there. Really good understanding from a young player. And bingo. One touch. Out he goes. Thought it was a really good play. Love this. They get a shot on goal. They could have easily had it, kicked the goal. Watch Murphy here. Does it really well. I like this setup here. So it's almost like a horseshoe as they tend to do it. So we've got players facing their goal on the attack. So this is where it becomes really dangerous for the Suns' point of view, because this is inside forward 50 for Adelaide. So you'll see as this unfolds, I just really love this setup, because what Murphy does, you can see that McAndrew is free. So he rounds him up to make it in this situation, a 1-on-2. So it gives good coverage. But then when you have these players coming towards the goals, you actually need someone to go the other way. And this is what happens, because you need variety. You can't have everyone going. You need to have some sort of balance. So you can see there's players, there's movement, and the Suns do quite a good job of manning them up. But I also want to point out, I think this is Hinge, left footer, and this will come into play as this unfolds. So goes down. Good work by Tex. So you got one-on-one. How dangerous is Rankine? I love Peatling's game last week, and then you've got Keys there. But what happens? Murphy comes into play. There he goes. He comes in. So as I said, he's rounded up McAndrew, and he's come from the other direction. Now Willpower could have got a foot to that, but as he comes out, he goes to have a snap. Look at that, left footer on the outside. So really good set play. Quite like the activity, the movement they had. They could have had a goal there from Hinge on his left foot. So I just like that movement inside forward 50. This is just a reaction from these three Crows players. The ability to see the actual tap unfolding. So what happens here is they can instantly see that Witts is going to win it and hit it forward. And just watch how they react. And it happens again in another clip down the track. So it goes up. He's got separation from his man. But look at this. 1, 2, 3. So the Crows reacted really quickly to that. Another clearance. Really well done. Now what they try and do here, they try and tap it over the back. And they try and get Rankine on the move. But to get him on the move, you need to have some support. So what I want you to do is pay close attention to this player here who comes across to provide the block for Rankine to come through. Now, he doesn't get it. He eventually gets it. A little bit of help from Soligo. But I really love this. And they try to do it. And I've got a few clips later on where they actually hit it over the back because it was a minute to go and they were trying to win the game. So comes in. Good tap from O'Brien over the back. So really good set play. And there was Rankine coming through right there. So he just misses it. But really well set play. And if I go back a fraction on this, you will see this player here. Just want you to watch that player there. He comes across to allow for Rankine. So go back, sorry. Look how you can see him coming across. Aggressively coming across to lay that block. And Rankine comes through. And I like that Rankine keeps his feet, stays involved. Good hands from Soligo here. In tight, in and under. Really good. So let's just see how this is another one from Rankine. As I said at the start of the episode, it's not about him, but he had an outstanding game on the weekend. And this is just a great little tap, dinky tap, so clean. And I love how he lowers his eyes there. So this is another one where I was saying before the reaction time with the Crows players. So 1, 2, 3. So they've got a defensive triangle set up because the Crows are going left the screen. And you watch just the reaction times. So the ball goes up. Watch Peatling. He's got touch and feel. When you get to the position where it's touch and feel, and then you know the ball's where it's going, that he identifies straight away that both rucks are looking this way. And you can see he's on the move as well. And it's just really good awareness. They did this with the boundary throw I just showed before. So they've done it again. So they know there's the tap. But most importantly, and I've said this in a number of my videos, even though O'Brien's going this way, look at his position now. He's spun around. So you've got to adapt. It's not always going to be they're clashing together, a perfect tap. They're always going to shift, and especially now that the rucks can come across the line, there's going to be a lot of this. And that's exactly what the Crows players did. And you can see how Soligo came off. And once again, 1, 2, 3. So they're on the outside of the SUNS players. So the reaction time to assess in the air where the rucks are was brilliant. Great clearance. So I don't know why they did this. The SUNS left number 23 for the Adelaide Crows, free in this position. I don't know. They'll probably assess this, but he's looking around thinking, hang on a minute, I've got no one on me. And O'Brien knows this. And look at this tap. Out into space. And away he goes. So a really good set play. I think he's the best forward. Love Sam Darcy. I watched this guy live. Riley Thilthorpe. I watched him live on the weekend. Outstanding. His work ethic around the ground is unbelievable. Now, he's not in the centre to win the taps. He's there for his mobility. And I really want to point this out. Just his ability to stay involved in the contest and to move laterally. So goes up into the play, and he's like a ruck rover. Look at him paddling along, hands off, gets the hands again, hands off, spreads laterally. So it gives himself. He's not in passing lanes, as they call it. Laterally spreads. That's why the handball games come in handy. Right, and then moves, makes space for Dawson to give it to him, and then kicks on his non-preferred. Love him. Great player. I thought outstanding game on the weekend, purely because I think I've circled the right one. Purely because the week prior, Rao had 10 clearances. On the weekend, he only had 2. And all because of this guy here. Did a wonderful job. So you see how this unfolds. And Rao is bodied up against Dawson. But just watch what Peatling does. Really played a really critical role on the weekend. So look at Rao. His bodywork early, and then Dawson's gone off him, and then watch Peatling come off him, whack. Great tackle, and then they're able to clear the ball out. Like this from Dawson. He's having an outstanding year. And love just his movement. Just you can see it. And once again, where the rucks are looking. So he's getting himself in the best position to receive it. So there it is. And then away he goes. Yes, Rankine. But I have to highlight just he's just the way he played on the weekend. This is fairly late in the game. Oop, I've missed that. Sorry. Fairly late in the game. There's 5 minutes to go. And you can see the clock there. And just watch his movement. And it's the timing of his movement. So I've said in many videos that when the ball goes up, everyone's eyes go. And they're watching the ball. You just watch what Rankine does. Now, Took Miller is very aware of how dangerous he can be. And as the ball's in the air, look at that little shimmy. Look at that little dart. Then Took Miller's trying to find him, and he slips. And then he nearly comes off. This is the one he falls over. And then I love this. So there's a minute to go in the game. They need to score. And I love what Riley O'Brien did, especially late in the game. So he's tapped it forward to Rankine with 5 minutes to go. But the last 3 minutes, all he did was just try to hit it into the corridor. And they were on the go. They were going for it, the Crows. So really good. Gets good body. Knows exactly what he wants to do. And then whack, look at that hit to Dawson. So really love the way the Crows set up their structures. And I think also too, the way they instinctively moved. They saw it early and they reacted a lot quicker from the SUNS. So on the weekend, Dawson's had 6 clearances, Soligo had 8, Peatling 4. He's mainly a bit of a negative role, which was really outstanding against Rao. But then Rankine had 10. So awesome work from the Crows, and it shows when they're winning the stoppages and getting out forward to their 3 bigs, how dangerous they can be.